Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price today as we are finding support at the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud support level, and if this continues to hold, there is a potential Bitcoin could see a massive run up potentially towards the $67,000 to $70,000 level. I want to talk about how this scenario could play out, and then we'll also address what would happen if Bitcoin did break this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud support level and what the downside would look like. And then we're going to take a look at what's happening to Ethereum. You can see we are holding the 1760 support level, and there is a potential Ethereum could run up and potentially see the $2,000 level. Again, I want to talk about how that scenario would play out, or if there is a downside scenario, what the targets would be. And then we'll take a look at traditional markets and the DXY. Of course, you guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Abeidi. If you appreciate this content, remember to like this video. So first and foremost, I want to talk about this channel that Bitcoin is in. If we pull up this more macro view, you can see we do have a very nice channel forming here for Bitcoin, and inside of this channel we are getting a lot of hints as to the future direction of price action for the Bitcoin price. You can see here inside of this channel there is this midpoint here that has acted as a major support in January. You can see here in February a major support level, and then it also acted as a resistance level here inside of this March to February consolidation that we saw, and now we are finding resistance at the midpoint of this channel. And so at this point for Bitcoin, if we start to trend up back above the midpoint of this channel, it becomes more and more likely that we are going to come back and retest 58,350 and potentially even come up above the weekly open, which is sitting right at that $59,000 level. And if that's the case, I believe Bitcoin has the potential to come up to form new all-time highs and potentially test the top of this channel around the 67,000 to potentially even the $70,000 level, depending on when this happens. And that would be the upside scenario that I can see for Bitcoin. And so far, if we look at the S&P 500, which is a very closely correlated market with Bitcoin, what you'll notice is we are forming new highs. And if this continues to trend up, that scenario becomes more and more likely. However, if the S&P 500 starts to falter and come down below the weekly open, closing hourly and 4-hour candles below the $3,940 area, in my opinion, the S&P 500 could drag Bitcoin down in that case, and we will look at some downside targets and scenarios for Bitcoin if that were to happen. But realize that a confirmation of an upside push for Bitcoin is going to be the S&P 500 continuing to the upside. But realize that we do have to address the DXY later in this video because we are seeing some strength right now, and I want to talk about what that could lead to. But that would be the upside for Bitcoin. The S&P 500 could confirm this scenario. And if the downside were to play out, realize that right now we have this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud acting as a major support. If we start to come down below the major cloud here and find it as a resistance level, really we would want to watch the previous weekly open at $51,000 level. But if we start to creep down into 54,000, 53,000, 52,000, then that would be an indication of weakness, and that's when we have to start looking at the downside targets, because if we get to the previous weekly open at 51,000, then now this Ichimoku cloud is going to become a resistance. And if the price action starts to creep down and then we come down to the $49,700 level, which we all know is a major level that has acted as a breakout resistance, has acted as a major resistance, and eventually breaking out a second time to new highs. So twice this resistance has acted as a breakout level to new all-time highs for Bitcoin. If we come down below that, I believe that we're going to have to start looking at the monthly open at 44,800 as the first target where we could potentially form a higher low to continue further up, but that would take us outside of this channel. I'm not too worried about that because this channel has been here for quite a while now. But realize this, if we start to come down towards this monthly open and we start to see price action unfold inside of this area, what would eventually happen is we'd form a higher low, and now we have a bear flag, and that would be the macro view for Bitcoin to then potentially even come up and form new all-time highs later down the road. Because remember, a bear flag on a macro bull trend does not always break down. Sometimes that could lead to further price action to the upside. So a bear flag upside wouldn't be a bad thing, but realize that that could be the scenario because we do have this monthly open here, and even if we were to come down and test this at any point this month in March, that would be a higher low forming for Bitcoin, and we could continue to see price action to the upside to form new highs from that monthly open sitting at 44,800, and that is also a very key level outside of the monthly open. So we have two confluent areas here, and so that is a key level to watch for the downside if we were to come down, and realize that for the Ethereum price, I believe that if Bitcoin does play out to the upside, Ethereum will revisit 2,000 US dollars. As long as we are above 1760, then now we have the 1981 as a target, and if we come up that close towards a big even, I believe it's highly likely we come up and even wick beyond 2,000, potentially even forming new all-time highs for Ethereum, and that has to do with the Bitcoin bullish case playing out. If you guys just watched the first part of this video, then you understand what I'm talking about. And the bearish case would be if Bitcoin does come down to form a higher low, then realize that there is a potential Ethereum could break down from this channel. And of course, we know this channel support has already invalidated itself by being tested here so many times. And at this point, this is a vibrational zone for the Ethereum price. We know that. And so if we come down here, there's a vibrational zone here that we could see a lot of volatility with the Ethereum price. For us to come down to the monthly open and retest the previous all-time high at 1440, I don't know if that would happen. I think a lot of that would have to do with whether or not we see strength or weakness with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. Realize that right now we are below all of the moving averages here on the daily chart, and we do have this 50-period moving average coming down violently, and we are below the 200-day moving average. In my opinion, if Ethereum is able to stay above the weekly and monthly open and below the 200-day moving average, that would be a positive thing. But if we come down below the monthly open and the weekly open, that would be a more bearish scenario where that 1440 comes back into the equation. But if we want to keep 1440 out of the equation, then what we want to see is strength above the monthly and weekly open, which we're currently seeing, so that's a good thing. But more importantly, at some point or another, I'd like to see us get above the 100 and 200-day moving average. That would also put us above the 20-week moving average, and that would be the bullish case for Ethereum to get back above the 20-week, close some candles above that area to then continue further up, and that could be a very parabolic breakout way beyond 2,000 US dollars if that were to happen. And so for us to revisit $2,000 as long as we're above the weekly and monthly open, I believe that's highly probable as long as Bitcoin plays out to the upside. For us to revisit 1440, I think that's a little bit far-fetched unless we get below the weekly and monthly open on the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. For us to come down with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin were to come down and form a higher low, I think Ethereum could come down a little bit, but I don't know if it would revisit the 1440 area. I think that we could see some strength around that 50-day moving average where it's showing confluence as well here with the channel support, and that is right at the 1680 level. And so keep that in mind for the Ethereum price. If it were to come down, I think this is a very vibrational zone for Ethereum where we're going to find a lot of volatility in that area. But for us to come down to the monthly open, I think is more likely for Bitcoin than it is for Ethereum, but that has to do with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. So hopefully that gave you some insight. And then we'll look at the total cryptocurrency market cap chart. You can see it does look like we've formed a higher high here, but once again, if we see that upside scenario play out, another point to watch here on the chart is going to be the weekly open for the total cryptocurrency market cap chart sitting right at $1.752 trillion. If we get above that and start closing hourly and 4-hour candles, that could indicate a continuation to the upside. But once again, if we stay below this level, then we do want to watch for the retest of the monthly open, a potential lower high forming here or something in that nature. And so once again, I'm giving you guys the numbers, and you guys do what you want with my numbers. And that's really the kind of, the story of this channel. It's the fact that I'm willing to give you guys my specific numbers, and you guys do whatever you want with it. Like, for example, I gave you guys 58,350 2 days ago as a major level, and you can see as soon as Bitcoin came down and closed 1 hourly candle below there, we saw a 6% drop. That was my number. You do whatever you want with it, right? If you want to manage risk with it, if you want to enter into a short position with it, if you want to enter into a long position with it, do what you want. Of course, I enter into different positions based on the schematics that I'm viewing. And of course, you guys that are in our Discord know that we're trading a ton of altcoins right now, and we're having a lot of success with that. And I actually want to show you guys exactly why we're doing that. If we pull up others dominance, notice this, by the way, check this out. We're seeing strength with others dominance, right? And so I like trading the altcoins when we're seeing a little bit of a stall with Bitcoin and Ethereum because of the fact that look at the altcoin dominance right now. We're about to form new all-time highs for others dominance, which is clearly showing with some of these altcoins breaking to new all-time highs while Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of just chilling at the zones that they're at. And that a lot has to do with that with market cap. And so anyways, I do want to show you guys Bitcoin dominance here. We're still seeing a consolidation. What we really want to look at right now is the DXY. You can see we're coming up to potentially retest that 91.92 level and break through. If we break through here with the DXY, we do want to watch this chart because understand that we are under a potential reversal as we are above the 20-week moving average, unlike the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, which is below. We are above now, and that's for the first time since this downtrend has started. And so we do want to monitor this because if we start to continue further up, with the DXY, there is a potential we could see asset prices get affected by this. As we know, the DXY tends to affect asset prices. So we want to watch this. If we start to see strength, that could be a potential indicator that we're coming up to test the 200-day moving average. If we get above this, that would be the final confirmation of a reversal. But if we start to see resistance here, as we should, then we could come down to the 100-day moving average. At that point, we're now close to the monthly open and the previous weekly open. If we break down below that, that would be the confirmation of further downside because that would also put us below the 20-week moving average. And so we have to monitor the DXY to see how this is going to play out because if this continues further up, then that could cause the S&P 500 to form a higher high here and continue further down while the DXY shows strength. That would affect Bitcoin once again. Or if this finds even more room to the downside, then that could indicate continuation for the S&P 500. And at that point, we could see Bitcoin continue further up and that bullish scenario would play out. So hopefully that gave you some insight. I do want to give away one of my favorite books on investing, Trading Psychology. If you guys want to enter into this giveaway, just comment below and share this video and you have the opportunity to win the Bible for Traders, Trading Psychology. And for our video yesterday, I do want to pick a winner here. Brooklyn says, "Your accuracy is truly impressive. Thank you so much for being generous enough to share these videos, even if we're not in the Discord. By the way, is the group still closed? Great calls all the time."